broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Cleveland rocks, Cleveland rocks.
All right, guys. Hi. Welcome to the first ever after show for the new awesome show on VH1, Hindsight. Just to preface this, the reason we use this awesome song is that me and my beautiful co-hosts, as we were watching the pilot, in a trailer, it looked like a time travel trailer, we realized we were all from Cleveland, which is very fortuitous and awesome because this show is about destiny, time travel. It's so awesome. My name is Sam Davidson. I have my lovely co-host with me.
Hi guys, it's Laili Sadny.
Hello everyone, I'm Alison Law.
So I am so excited about this show.
I know.
Me too.
I'm obsessed. This is
in unison. Right?
I'm like I can't even begin to say how happy I am about this show. When I saw the trailer, I first was like, this sounds and looks awesome. Secondly, the lead character in the show, Becca, was in one of my favorite movies, She's the Man. It was Amanda Bynes' best movie and Channing Tatum's, one of his best. But it's an amazing show, an amazing cast. Tell me your thoughts, guys.
I agree. Well, I was super, super excited for the show to come out and to see it because I love anything about the 90s. And it just looked super comical and it's a great show. Like, it's just, I was kind of really blown away when I started watching it, to be honest with you.
Well, for me, it's a little different. At first, I was like, I don't know how this is going to be. I was like, let me watch an episode. And in the beginning of the episode, it started off very slow. But as it graduated towards the end and everything, I was just like, oh my God, I'm falling in love with the show. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah, this show is either going to be huge or in 5 years is going to have a big cult following and everyone's going to be like, why didn't we watch the show? Watch it. Watch it now because it's awesome.
I could totally see that happening. Like, I could almost see it being extremely huge or being like an almost like My So-Called Life kind of cult following show. But it's hysterical. Like, the writing's
And
great.
It's geared to everyone. I can see the youth watching this, teenagers watching this, as well as older adults, following up with this show as well.
I mean, it's on an interesting network for the kind of show that it is. Like VH1, you wouldn't really be like, oh, this would be a rom-com time travel drama.
Yeah, I think VH1's kind of going down the lines of doing the scripted series now, which is great for them.
They got a great one.
Yeah, they've been successful. Hit the Floor was on, and super successful. Shout out to Hit the Floor. But I think also because it's about the 90s, and I like how they are incorporating music in the show. It's VH1. It's a music network, so I feel like almost music on this show is almost a character on the show.
Yeah, which is brilliant, and they're kind of using that old school that we used to get when we would watch the CW. They used to do it. They don't really do it as much, but we're watching the show, we go to commercial break, and that awesome song, we're like, oh my God, I remember that. Right. They say what it is and how you can find it.
And then they have some of the song playing in the background while the actors and actresses are,
and they
acting.
use, Ace of Base.
I Saw the Sign.
Yeah, I Saw the Sign. Alanis Morissette. Some of my faves. I guess let's start from the very beginning. Becca doesn't really know if she wants to marry this guy, Andy. She doesn't seem very attracted to him. She kind of looks like she's going to throw up when she's around him in the first part of the episode.
Have we ever been there before?
I mean,
have you ever had a boyfriend where we just like, oh,
yeah, but I broke up with him. I didn't marry him
though. It's
Yeah, you cut it off before it gets that far.
But my question is, from her, as we noticed, she got married once before. So was Andy more successful than Sean this time around?
Yes, I think so.
So what's the reason why?
I think she's probably trying to do the right thing because she knows she's like, okay, I'm a certain age, I'm not married. I had a marriage when I was younger, and who knows what happened, but obviously it didn't work out. So I'm going to marry Andy. I've known him my whole life. He's a good guy. So I think it's one of those things.
Yeah, and I think it's also something that her parents were, or at least her mother, was disappointed in her, wanted her to do things differently. And, can we just talk about this cousin for a second?
Oh my God.
Yes.
Hello.
She's awful. I'm kind of confused why the mother and the cousin have such a
good relationship.
close relationship.
Honestly, we don't know what happened. I'm pretty sure they're going to show us why that relationship got to where it is. But I feel like she's always grew up jealous of Becca. And maybe we'll find out later on why. But it just seems like a little jealousy type of thing.
Yeah, it seems like huge jealousy. Like they go to the scene at their rehearsal dinner, and it's the mom and the cousin in the bathroom. And Becca's in the bathroom stall listening to this whole conversation, hearing her mother and her cousin just pretty much rip her apart and say how much of a failure she is.
It's so terrible.
Like me personally, I wouldn't have sat in there. I would have busted out of the bathroom stall and was like, hi, thanks.
But it was good to hear everything, because now she's taking that back when she goes back to the 90s. She's listening to, and she can use that to make herself a better person. Honestly, we don't know. Maybe her and her mom didn't have such a good relationship. And in one scene in the movie where she gave her the bracelet, she's like, you didn't do this last time. Maybe they're getting closer and they're actually having a good mother-daughter relationship.
Right, and I think that is a very small little seed that the writers and producers put in to say that she is going to change the past. I mean, she already does change the past, which we will get there, which is leaving her husband, or her would-be husband, at the altar. But even before then, when her mother gave her that bracelet, it never happened before.
Right, that was interesting. So it's like, I mean, the course of, you can't really change people, but kind of the course of actions, I think that's what she wants to do, is like go back and like make her life great. And by hearing all that criticism, she's going to take it even more to heart, I think.
I don't think you can not change someone. I can think you can be an influence to make them a better person. Like, I mean, when someone's older, they're stuck in their ways. But when you go back to when you're younger, you can listen more and make the right decisions versus when you're older and you think you know everything, and you thought you lived life and you're stuck in your ways. I believe you can change someone, but not once they're set in their ways in an older age, if that makes sense.
You definitely can change yourself. So
Yeah, that's all you have control over, I think, is yourself. And when she keeps on saying, though, in her head, her inner monologue, I could change him, I can change him, that's like the number one telltale red flag sign of a woman to say. You can't. Yeah. What any story, tragedy, love story has told us, you can't change somebody.
Right.
Just yourself.
This is true.
So hopefully, but I'm hoping we'll kind of get flash forwards to who she was and what her life was and why it was so bad, why she was so miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it goes back to her job, too. Like, is she doing this for her job? What exactly is she doing it for? We're not really sure.
It may be leaning towards her job, because if you notice at the end of the, when she runs out, she goes to him like, look, this is how it's going to be. You're going to give me that raise I asked for. You're going to make me the VP. And by the way, you're going to fire that temp that I hired, because she's going to be terrible. Well, and when she walks in, the previews, they show like, oh, congratulations, the new VP. So maybe this was to help build her career, because it wasn't that good, right?
Yeah, well, it's funny because I watched the trailer, and it's like she does something in the music industry. So, okay, you go back in time, you know what's going to happen in the future. I mean, how incredibly successful could you be? I mean, that's kind of great for her. So even in the little preview, she's saying, like, Laili was saying, oh, you're going to come back in time to make your career better. That's so exciting.
Yeah, it's like she's going to find Justin Bieber as a fetus.
Yes. Britney Spears, I'm coming for you. I found you.
Well, let's talk about Laili for a second, who basically, which is one of the reasons I also love this show, is because it's very focused on female friendship.
Right.
That is clearly more important to her right now.
Right.
She was her bridesmaid in her first wedding, wishes she was in her second. We don't know what happened.
Right.
I think it might have something to do with her very attractive brother, Sean.
Yes, he is so sexy.
He is quite attractive.
Gossip Girl, but I was like, oh my God, was that guy in Gossip Girl? No way. And he was. He dated Serena season 2, I think, if anyone else is a Gossip Girl fan. I know, I'm just pulling these all tricks out of my hat. But do you guys think that's what it was? We have no idea why they're not friends anymore, her and Laili.
She didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She didn't want to talk about it yet. I mean, I think it was like, they kind of hinted it was like something she said to her. And it was it seemed like it was at a party, or at that New Year's Eve party, because she kept flashing back to that New Year's Eve. It could be regarding Sean. Not Sean, the brother.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's the brother. That is brother,
But
right?
the moral to
Jamie.
the story
Jamie,
is I
Jamie.
appreciate that she loved what they had. She reached out. She tried to call. Funny thing about it is I didn't know people still use AOL.
Me neither.
She tried to reach out to her, and she wanted her to be in her second wedding. And when she finally got to go back into time, she was like, "I value our friendship." You know, it's basically like, I miss this. You know, and I don't want to mess it up again, and mess this relationship.
And
up.
I mean, Laili is the only person she tells in 1995 thus far, and I have the feeling it's going to only be her. And in addition to her time travel guide Xavier, which we will get to, but the first thing she does, she doesn't tell her brother, which I was kind of surprised. I think I would tell my brother maybe like, "Oh my God, please help me."
Right.
But I think my best friend will understand me more than my brother.
I guess it depends your
It's a girl
family,
thing,
your
we're close.
relationship.
She was kind of hinting to her brother. It didn't come out. I think it might come out.
Yeah,
She was
I
getting really
agreed.
close to telling him. She's like,
Yeah.
it does seem like I'm having a nervous breakdown, you know? But yeah, I think she's going to tell him.
Yeah,
Because it seemed like they were close.
because they have a good relationship. Yeah,
Yeah, it seems like
Eventually
they're
it'll
really
come out.
close.
Yeah.
I really like him, her brother, a lot. Jamie, even though I messed up his name. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. It's the first episode. So, Laili and her, though, we don't know what happened, but she's the only person that she tells. And then we find out, that they had Becca had a very passionate relationship with her first fiance. And let's just talk about him for a minute.
Okay, let's
Let's
do
talk
that.
about his accent.
Yeah, let's talk about his
the
face,
accent.
his hair, his
body.
Everything about him
body.
is he's sexy. The only thing about him is he's short. I love his accent. He's short and he's a little bit too petite for me. I was
Sean,
thinking a
yeah.
tall foreign guy.
I don't think he seems that small to me. It's
Yeah,
just
I'm
his.
thinking like he's 5'10", 5'9", 5'11".
I mean, 5'10's fine with me. Any 5'10 and up is like my go to.
I like 6'3" and up.
Oh well, okay. To each their own. He's super hot. So we find out we kind of had a hard time when we were watching it. We're like, okay, so this was 20 years in the past. The girl looks awesome.
Yeah.
In present day.
I know, like, how is she?
Yeah, so we're guessing that she's around 20 when she gets married for the first time to Sean. And, that's very young because they mentioned earlier that it's a very young age. They knew she was getting married too young. She was
Right.
very impulsive. Do you think we'll find out about, like, their past relationship, or are we just, like, starting new? Is this show just, like, taking a past we don't know about and, like, starting a new one?
I see what you're saying. I think there's might be flashbacks to, like,
Yeah.
the past. There has to be.
We won't know everything in detail, but I think they're going to just go back and forth, and give us flashbacks, but not give us everything, but to leave it up to us to make our own,
Yeah, this show's super awesome. I can't say how obsessed I am with it. I'm so excited. I want to get to Xavier, which I think will be a big part of the show. She has to have a time travel / spirit guide.
Yes.
What have you. What I was confused about is when she sees him in 1995 in the bar. So he doesn't know that he is her spirit guide. Is this just him?
He knows.
Because in the other time travel TV shows, movies I've seen, their spirit guides will pop up and they just they know who they are to them, what they are to them, and they guide them. But this time I was like, is he hitting on her? I'm confused.
Well, I think personally he knows. He popped in on her for a reason. But what tripped me out a little bit is when she seen him at the little Chuck food stand, she said, "You look familiar." Mm-hmm. So she's seen him before. Then when she went back to him when she was younger at the bar, she was like, "Oh my God." She had that connection. She didn't tell him, "Hey, you're the guy from back in the day." I mean,
I don't
in the
think she
future.
realized. At first, she definitely didn't realize. And then all of a sudden, like when they shook hands and they were looking at that sign on the wall that was about the future and the past, then I think it kind of hit her.
Right.
But like, I think that he obviously knows if that's his
It
role.
kind of made me
that's
think,
his
though,
role.
that it was a younger version of him. I don't know. I want it to be his role and for him to know and him to pop up and, at hot dog stands and be like, "So, how's it going?"
keep checking it.
Yeah.
You know what? They may just end up dating.
I don't.
I hope not. That'd be too many men. It'd be so confusing. But what she says at the end of the episode, though, too, is like she's looking for her soulmate. I mean, I'm like, come on, girl. You already have two great guys. I don't think it's the problem is that they're not your soulmates.
Well,
I mean, possibly, at least with the Andy, the present day one.
Andy definitely isn't. She's marrying him. He's the nice guy. Sean.
Yes, Sean.
Sean obviously was that guy for her. That guy that just like you have that chemistry with.
But they were too young.
But whatever happened between them, which we don't know yet, we will find out. It obviously isn't her soulmate because it didn't work out. So
Right.
I think that now that she gets the chance to go back, she's really gonna like try to find who she's supposed to be with.
But I noticed that Sean is trying really hard to keep her. You know, the little bit of previews that I did see is like he's aggressive. He's like, we were meant to be. You know, maybe they'll link back up together and end up together again later on down the road.
Well, you know, that's the thing about relationships too. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've been in relationships where just like this isn't the right time and it sucks because
timing.
you really like that
It's always
person
timing,
and
yeah.
it's timing.
Timing's huge.
Yeah.
And perhaps like she's gonna go in this huge circle and then she'll just come back when she's 40. I don't know.
What if she goes in the circle in the 90s and then like she gets, goes back to the present day where she left and Sean is with her and they're together and they're happy.
Oh, and wake up.
Yeah.
They wake up and
You know,
I mean,
that may
and they have
happen.
kids or something.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. I honestly think that they are planting this beautiful Australian, I think it is, man in our brains to be her soulmate.
Yeah.
And she's looking for another one. I think it's probably him. I'm not really sure, but I really want it.
I think it's
he's
him. I think it's timing. They're too young. And her dad said, this is the only guy, when he comes around, you light up. And I haven't seen you done that since you were a kid,
Yeah, and just to touch on very quickly, I thought the whole father thing,
dad thing. Okay.
hilarious. I kind of a little bit relate to it. He gets married and knocks up like a very young Sabrina, I believe her name
Sabrina.
was. A lot younger. And we find out that 20 years prior, he was married to her mother, the very controlling, which she still was controlling in 1995, the mom, but she has gone to crazy lengths 20 years in the future.
She got a lot worse. Probably the divorce didn't help, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking she's starting to be nicer when the daughter came back in time. Maybe she's going to soften the mom up and she's going to change and they'll stay together. Maybe they won't get a divorce.
Yeah, there's these questions about, like, can you go back in time? And if you can, not can you, okay,
Yes.
I know you can't.
If you could go back in time.
If you could,
I think you can.
Can you? You're okay.
We just don't have
You'll be my
the tools
partner
yet for it.
But if you could go back in time, how much can you change and how much can't you? And if you change something, how much will that affect the future? And it could, there's like all these theories, TV shows, like if you touch what happened in the past, you could really mess things up.
Yeah, it could. You have to be careful. But it's the scene that I absolutely love was when she first shows up at Lali's apartment and she goes, "I am from the future."
And she says it like Yoda.
My question is, how many of you guys would believe your best friend if they popped up on you and said, "I'm from the future"? Would you think she's crazy?
I mean, I think they were like crazy or going through a breakdown or had a rough night. I mean, I don't know. But
what if she started telling you things like she did about the
yourself?
clap and all of that? She's like, how did you know about that?
Yeah, she's like, literally, unless you broke into my doctor's office.
Yeah.
There's no way you can know.
That's true. That's true.
And that's why it's nice, when someone time travels, they need someone there to like support them. That's not their travel guide. That's a friend that knows. I like a lot of movies and TV shows that take place. Like it's all about time travel, but they always need kind of a stone, like a building block there in the past to believe them. And Lali totally does. I'm really excited to see about where they go. Quickly though, let's jump back to Xavier. Do we think he's going to be in every single episode?
Yeah.
A shadow of him.
Yeah.
A shadow of him?
Yeah.
I kind of hope he gets with Lali.
Well, she said he's cute, so I mean.
Oh, yeah. Pay attention to that. She did.
I mean, this show is so awesome, and I'm really excited I saw the promo for it in the first place because I don't even think I would have known about it, and not everyone is going to tune to VH1 for their scripted television needs because they only have one other show on the air right now that's scripted. So please tune in. Let's see. What else? Am I missing anything else about
Let's talk about the fashion. It took us all the way back.
But here's the thing. That's a good thing to bring up. The fashion, when she's going through all her clothes.
It's like, I wear that stuff right
I was going to say,
now.
all that stuff is in style now. So I don't know why she was like afraid to put it on.
Oh, she looked so good in that leather jacket and those knee-high socks. Oh
I wore my
God.
knee-high socks today just for Hindsight because it took me back to my 90s back when I was a schoolgirl.
I hope this show takes us all back to the 90s. And the music.
And the pager. How do you guys get
the
a pager?
pager. Oh my gosh.
Like, she's like, what is that? It's your pager.
Yeah. And we were like, I had a pretty cool pager. I don't even know who paged me. I think it was like my mom and my dad.
I didn't get to
little
get a
codes that
pager.
people would page you. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to get a pager. I was so mad because everyone in my school, I was in middle school when they came out. 6th grade, maybe 5th grade, everyone had a pager, and I was like the lame girl without a pager. I was so mad.
I mean, it's kind of weird, though, to think that she's 40. Like, she doesn't look very different either way. The actress has been along for a very long time, so I believe it. She just looks awesome. But it's just like, what did they really do to her?
To make her look different?
Yeah.
I think, like, in the present day scenes, she was a little more conservative.
Sophisticated.
And her hair was pulled up and, like, you know,
the evening gown.
Yeah, and then in the 90s, she's a little more disheveled.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, like, kind of scary, too, you know, to think where your life could go. If it could.
Well, I think it raises a good question, like, if you could go back to the future, what would you do differently?
And when we're watching it, you know, we don't want her to leave him at the altar, to leave Sean at the altar. Because we're like, he's perfect. He loves you. He's
I was
so
almost
hot.
in tears.
It was heartbreaking.
I didn't like that. I think he's a good guy. I think he's going to prove to her that he is the man that she dreamed of. And they're going to come together, but I was about to cry. Like, I was in tears. Like, he's a fighter. Like, he really loves her.
I mean, it's true, but, you know, if you're put in that crazy situation and you know, it's like, I can't for the life of me go back in time and do the same things that I did. This happened to me for a reason. It's not why I was sent back.
Right, exactly. She should not have shown up at the church then.
Yeah.
You don't leave someone at the altar. That's a little cruel.
Yeah, she could have just said no when she went to the house, and he got back some when he came to the bench at the park. You know, don't have me get dressed and don't
have everybody come and everything. Yeah.
She's wrong for that. That was doing the most.
And did you see, like, when she was standing there, when when Priest says, "Does anyone object?" She's like looking around, like, "Somebody please object, because I don't want to do this."
And, like, she has, like, sweat on her nose a little bit, which I really appreciated. I don't know if that was, like, natural or, like, they forced that, but it made a lot of sense. Like, she's panicking. I love, like, that we kind of see the show through her eyes, because we're on Becca's journey with her, and she's really realistic and exactly how I think we would be if we were in that same situation.
Yeah. And did you notice the best friend? That's her ride or die. She was up there hopping like, "Oh, you're walking to the aisle." She was so happy at the altar, and
she's crying, and I'm like,
I should be the one crying, not you. She was so team Becca, and you know,
and
she
they ran out of the
like
church.
I know, but then when she just stopped crying, and then she just threw her bouquet in the air and was like, "Okay," and then they go to the local bar. Poor Sean, sees her there.
Yeah, so Sean walks in. They're at the local bar. She's happy as can be, like, sitting there with a huge smile on her face after she just walked out of her wedding, and he walks in and sees her, and that's just so heartbreaking. Like, that's just cruel.
And she's just been so separated from the situation from him for 20 years. So it's so different from her, but for him, this is real. This is his life. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Women are so mean.
No, men are mean. It's just, like, not her fault that she's time traveling, and she's busy, she's confused, whatever.
Sorry, after this time travel
I think
thing.
she should sit down and tell him her experience and tell him everything, and maybe he'll understand.
He kind of seems like an alternative, interesting man, which might have been one of the reasons why they didn't actually work out.
I think you notice, like, all the art in his apartment. So obviously he's, like, some sort of an artist.
Yeah.
And in the scene at the rehearsal dinner, when the mom was talking to the cousin, they're saying, well, she was so caught up in her husband. She didn't do anything great in her life, you know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think that we'll find out a little more.
I mean, I think you would understand. I mean, not understand, but I think he would be open to it. No? You think I'm crazy?
I think
Maybe?
he's an artsy type of guy. I think he's understanding.
I think if she started telling him stuff like that, he would only, there's no way she would know.
Yeah.
That probably.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But, you know, she needs to get explained the time travel rules. There has to be a rule book. Someone has to sit down and be like, listen, you can't tell anyone about the stock markets. Or,
that's Xavier's place. He needs to sit down
he needs
and let
to
her
step
know.
up. I was expecting him
That's
to.
what I'm saying. Like, if I went back to the past, I would be like a billionaire right now, because you know everything that happens. You can bet on everything.
But that's not allowed.
It is only the first
illegal.
episode, so we don't know what's going to happen.
You go back to you go back to your job, and, like, you know, she's obviously at the same job she's been at. So think about if you went back to your job 20 years ago and you knew everything that's happened, like, you pretty much own the company, I would think.
And that's why she said, I'm going to be the VP, the vice president of your company.
But then you never know if that decision she makes is going to make her into some, like, crazy tyrant, you know, like this executive God, there's so much that could happen with this show and all the different paths you could take. It kind of reminded me of a movie with Gwyneth Paltrow called Sliding Doors. Have you guys ever seen it?
No.
No, I don't
It's a
think so.
really super cool movie. It's basically about like what happened if she missed a subway and what happened if she got on it. And she has two completely different lives that end up happening. And it's kind of, this show is, she is confused right now.
Yeah.
But I think she does in her heart of hearts believe that she is back there for a reason to fix things. But I do think one of the main things she needs to fix is her relationship with Laili, her best friend.
Well, I think that's what she's doing.
Yeah, and
like,
that's what
that's
her
her main focus. Like she doesn't want to, because even the beginning of the episode, she's like, I want to call Laili because she was going on to her second marriage, and she's like, you should be here. You were at my first wedding, And I think that's just like been eating away at her, obviously, for years.
I think the main point of her is going back is to clear up the bad decisions that she made. Her and Laili are going to rekindle their relationship, and it's going to be good. And her and Sean may end up getting back together
You're a
later
big
on down the
pusher
road.
for
I'm a
that.
pusher for that. I believe in real
His
love. every once in a while.
eyes, like it's love.
You could see the passion.
Oh yeah.
Andy, it was just, you're cute. I got the cute, popular girl. He was the nerdy little boy. You seen him in the audience at her wedding. It was like,
Yeah. But he looked more nerdy though present day than he did in 1995. I honestly think in 1995 he looked better. I don't know.
I
but
think
that's
he's
just
all the
me.
way around cute, attractive.
Oh, yeah.
He's my type, so he didn't look nerdy at all.
I thought you liked like huge, like
He was
six-
tall. He was like 6'3".
Okay, I guess so. All right.
Dark hair, dark features. He was just missing an accent, but
He can put that on.
he was handsome.
No, he was very handsome. Clearly, Becca has very good taste.
She does.
No, yeah, and she's a beautiful girl. She's gorgeous, and has a good job, but not good enough. I mean, she's 40, and she was 40, which is a great age. What?
Got excited. Sorry, I got excited about her boss. Can we talk about who her boss is?
Oh my God, I forgot. I'm so glad you brought that up. Anthony from
The
Sex
short
and the
guy.
City. Oh my God, I got so many throwbacks tonight. Like, this show made me so happy because of all of the throwbacks we got. But Anthony is one of them.
Yes.
And I think he's like on the show for good.
Yeah, he's her boss. He's the main character.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I haven't seen him, and I've been like dying for him to be on another show. So I'm so excited.
Yeah, last time I saw him was in the Sex and the City
That's
movie.
the last time I've ever
Charlotte's
seen him.
BFF.
So.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, so do you guys want to get into predictions a little bit? I think we've kind of covered it all. Yeah.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, Layla, do you want to go first?
Oh, sure, why not?
Go for it.
Okay, so God, we predicted a lot already.
We
So
did, yeah.
I'm just pulling this out. I do think that the mom and the dad are going to stay together. I think Becca's going to have a huge role in kind of like keeping them together. Laili is going to. They're going to repair their relationship, and we're going to find out what she said. But I think what she said has to do with the brother, to be honest. I think maybe her and the brother started dating. So I think that, and obviously Becca wants to keep them from dating, but I think they're going to end up together.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
Well, to piggyback up on what you said about the brother and them dating, I do remember earlier in the episode she said, leave him alone, don't date him. So she put emphasis on that. So it shows that maybe that really is the reason why. But it sounds like Laili doesn't take no for an answer. And whatever happened, she's going to try to switch it so it won't happen so they can end up on a good term. I think it's a lot of fire between them two right now. So I can see that in the future, them hooking up and doing what they do and maybe, going into a serious relationship or something. For sure, I think Sean is going to come back around the mountain again. They're going to meet back up once they're advanced in their career or later on down the road. They're going to come back together. That was their first soulmate, hands down. They were just young, and timing is everything. So her and Sean, at the end of the show, they're going to get back together. The parents are going to stay together. They're not going to get divorced. The mom is finally going to, soften up a little bit, not be such a hard ass, And I think that's about it for right now. Xavier, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be flirting with Laili or flirting with Becca. I'm confused about him right now.
Or maybe he should just do his job,
True.
guys, and take her back in time and not make it so confusing. I agree with both of your predictions. Becca mentioned that her brother was in rehab several times. Yeah. So I think that the Laili thing ends up driving him to rehab somehow. And that's why she is so insistent on them not being together. And yes, perhaps that is why her and Laili and their friendship.
I could see that. Stopped being friends because of that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's huge. And that's why he was living with his parents.
Yeah, like she really messed him up, maybe.
Yeah.
But also, it was 10 years, so really he's been that broke up about it for 10 years. Something else had to have happened, but I do think that was a part of it. I do think that she's going to try to stop her parents from splitting up. And, like, that gross thing, he's having another baby. And I love what her brother said when Becca told him. She was like, that's gross. It's not even like, oh, my God, I'm going to have another brother or sister. No, it's gross.
I think that's what you said, too.
Yeah. It's like, that's really gross. And I don't know. I do think that Sean is Becca's soulmate. It's just there's something weird about like the way and that line that the father said whenever he comes in a room, you light up and I see that magic in your face when when you were little and you turned on the light and you just couldn't believe all the magic that happened. Yeah. So I definitely think that's going to happen. I am so happy and so excited to be with fellow Clevelanders on this show. This is like a very fortuitous, awesome panel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to find us at AFTERBUZZ TV on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything. Where can we find you, Allison?
Yeah, everyone, you can find me at That's a Law, THATSALAW on Instagram or Twitter.
And you can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Laili Sadny.
And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at SamD43 and online at SamDavidsonEntertainment.com. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.